Hey
Okay.
guys, how's it going? Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. We are back again with Philip Urso Jr. to discuss the recap and review, loaded with spoilers, of the latest episode of X-Men 97. Episode number 7 already. I'm already having panic attacks about the season ending, but I'm excited about it as well. 3 more episodes. Oh my gosh, the three like epic finale apparently is coming up. But this
What will we do with
episode,
our time?
and now I know, right? Well, I already have my assignment, so to watch the original series. So I have time between now and the next season, which I feel like they're totally gonna fast track, but we are gonna have to wait, at least long enough for, it's crazy because like South Park, although I'm comparing South Park to to X-Men 97, but they crank those out in a week. And that's kind of amazing. But yeah, speaking of which, the production level continues to amaze me. The animation looked fantastic this episode. Bright Eyes, episode 7. I feel like this was like very much set up for like the big grand finale. Like so many things happened this episode. It was kind of crazy. Would you like to initial thoughts, Philip?
Well, it didn't go as planned for me because I thought it was going to be, Cable centric and like a prequel to Genosha. Cable appeared, so we got that. Hence the name Bright Eyes. But the animation, I was really, really impressed by this. I mean, I've always been impressed, but this week, like particularly Jean's telekinesis was so,
Yes.
done. The effect of that was so cool and well done. Um, and just you just think when they're not gonna, take it to a next level, they're like, oh yeah, wait, they did that. Uh,
And the gag moment. We'll get there eventually,
yeah.
but you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Uh, so, I mean, I was entertained. I wasn't like I was 2 weeks ago. I think the two episodes that probably had me just at the edge of my seat, in addition to the first one, because I'd waited 27 years for the first one,
Mhm.
was the Inferno episode. What is it called? Fire Made Flesh or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And what do you call it? Remember It.
Mhm.
Those were probably the ones that I wanted those episodes to have the biggest impact to be the life death episodes. Yes, I got
And
my Fantasy.
isn't
I got my Storm restored, but
No, excellent point though, because you would think that given that Storm is like so important to us and that story is so important to us as well, that it would have been like the pinnacle moment of the series, but far from it. I mean, Remember It is definitely like the javelin through the heart moment, and that was such a great episode. So but I guess that this is teaching us, and I kind of like that in a way because I don't like when the fan base dictates, the comics or the show. I feel like we're here to be entertained by it, not write it. You know what I mean?
but
But
I like
we do,
creators appeal to the fans.
yes.
You know,
Yeah, I mean, but we did have certain expectations. They are doing the storyline. We were blown away in the comic, and it was kind of lackluster. And I feel like they put, what they put into Remember It, they did not put into Life Death. As good as it was, you know what I mean? Like I said, but I just like, yeah, I mean, now that the dust has settled, I think that it was choppy, it was broken up, it was treated as such an afterthought
like
in a lot of ways. Yeah, so it was just like the gravity of it, her losing her powers. I feel like they could have, had it go a little bit longer without her powers, maybe. I don't know. But, it is what
where's
it
her journey?
is. Yeah.
Like she's supposed to go on some journey. What was the journey? She went to Texas. A really attractive inventor picks her up at a bar, and and 2 episodes later, all's well with the world. I mean, I was fine with the resolution because, like I said before, we had to wait years to get that. And I was glad that they did not overlook Forge in this because I was worried that maybe they wouldn't cram him into the story, given that they only had 10 episodes this season. And because Storm has had so many other romances since then in the comics. I thought,
Yeah.
are they going to pay tribute to Forge? So I'm really happy they did. I'm not disappointed about that. I just thought they could have given her more. I mean, heck, Jean Grey got 9 episodes alone in the original series just with Phoenix and Dark Phoenix. Storm could have got
That is,
a whole life, death, or two.
yeah. I mean, that is my one irritation with the cartoon, and is that it does very much feel like Gene and Scott's cartoon in a lot of ways. Like they definitely feel like they get the lion's share of the screen time. I feel, I don't know, maybe not necessarily, but maybe it just feels like it since they're not my favorite. I don't know.
Jean only gets focused really during the Phoenix saga and random one-offs in the original series. It's mostly Wolverine centric, and then it becomes very Beast centric after season 2.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
because Beast is not super prevalent in this, although we got a lot of Beast this episode. I felt like he was kind of unfair to Trish Toby, like she is on the mutant side after all.
Oh,
And
that was an interesting scene. I'm glad you brought up when he was talking to her and he was just, talking about how when she was, casting, doing her video cast during what was happening in Genosha or outside the mansion, and then he called her Miss Tilby as he walked away, and we know that's the kiss of death when you call something by last name.
Yeah, 100%. I know it's definitely the gentleman's equivalent of FU. So
He really, really unleashed his inner
Beast.
By the way, I have one more of those coming later in this week.
A pun.
Another pun, another name related.
Oh, okay. I was like, now you're ready. You came with the jokes today, so
I got jokes. Who knows? They may not be well received, but no.
I will consider myself warned.
Yes, you're warned, and everybody who's watching this, whether it's 5 or 10 people, or who knows more.
I know.
You're a popular, channel, so at least to me.
Well, you never know. I was gonna say, I feel like our episodes are going down each episode. Like, people are getting sick of hearing us rambling, but
maybe they remember it was like I said, that was our climax, and we need to get back there. So
yeah, well, I know. I feel like we're only as good as is the episode of the week. So you know what I mean? It's like I don't know. You would have to be like juggling fire or something over there to have made life death more exciting.
And after Motendo, we crammed as much as we could into that discussion.
I know. Well, I hope that these are all excellent points because I feel like we're like the perfect target audience. Like we're gonna love whatever goodness you're gonna give us, basically, and just make it good. You know what I mean? So if they could just make every episode as good as Remember It next season, then I will be a happy camper. And I don't know if that's possible. It's probably not.
I'm wondering just what conscious decision they made, with Jean as opposed to, the hair debates. When she was free flowing, she's Madeline. When she's ponytail, she's Jean. But now she's back to using her Madeline hair, and Madeline is apparently dead, according to the showrunner, who has posted on Instagram saying she died in the first blast, which, I don't like hearing because I just don't like the Madeline Scott Jean resolution to be she's dead, so no choice has to be made. I think they need to put more into it, even if it has to wait till next season. And so she's rocking her Madeline hair very nicely. And notice how Scott was really excited about the potential telepath being alive in the rubble. And, but it wasn't Madeline, it was his third wife in the comics. Dun, dun, dun.
I know, that was the freaking gag moment, right? Oh my God. So I don't know. I wasn't crazy about the way she looked, but I don't know. I wasn't even crazy. Like I feel like I I should be like her biggest fan. Like I feel like she's made for the Yes Queen crowd. Like, you know what I mean? Like with her, cleavage and everything and her like, like
outfit, yeah.
And her bitchy comebacks, you know what I mean? Like like I would have been living for that before, but I cannot stand her and Scott as a couple. I Oh,
I
ugh.
never support that because it's clearly, in my opinion, a case of later writers just doing their own thing and not giving a flying foodie do about established, characterizations over decades of time. I mean, we have to believe on paper that Scott Summers marries a woman and is put in charge of Xavier's School, who tried to kill his love, kidnapped his friends, put them in cages, body swapped with Storm, had her sexually assaulted by Sebastian Shaw in that process, and tried to kidnap the New Mutants how many times, and perform some sort of psychic lobotomies on them to make them evil little hellions. And oh wait, she's in a coma after the Trevor Fitzroy experience. She wakes up traumatized that the aliens are gone, and all is forgiven. Yay! And let's put her in charge of the Massachusetts Academy again. Okay, I get that. Give her the Massachusetts Academy. Make her an ally, even fine. Redemption is a wonderful thing, but him marrying her, that I thought was just over the bounds of reality, even in an X-Men universe. Because, like I said, with her targets, Kitty Pryde summed it up best, I think, in Astonishing X-Men 6, written by Joss Whedon, where
Mm.
Emma Frost says something to her and she's like, let me tell you something about true evil. From the first time I met you, the X-Men were locked in cages. You tried to do this. You tortured them. Ever since then, she's like, every time I see the face of pure evil, I see you. So don't worry about she's something about whether I can hear you coming, Miss Frost. I can smell you. And
Hmm.
it was like, wow, it was one of my favorite Kitty scenes post the 90s, and it was just finally, it's like somebody had to say this.
Thank you.
So somebody
No,
had
yeah,
to say that. Like I said, yes,
yeah,
make her an
exactly.
ally, but making her Scott's wife, I just thought it was way too much. And I'm hoping they don't go into that now, because Scott and Jean have not, worked out their issues. And I don't know if they're going to, God, can you imagine if they do in the cartoon what they just recently did in the comics, where Scott, Jean, and Logan are a throuple?
Oh no, I like. Is that did that really happen?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't read it actively, and I'm not saying I'm against it. And in the movies, I would have been like, "Go Famke," because you have what's the James Marsden and Hugh Jackman.
Well, no,
But
I mean, you know, but that's speaking of fan service, right?
mm-hmm.
Like, who is that for? Like, Logan and Scott hate each other. Why are they in a throuple? That makes
Yeah, so
absolutely no
I
sense to me.
don't know if the thruple is where they're all together at one point, or just that Jean is in a relationship with both of them, and they're just both okay with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know
Oh,
whether
okay.
uh, if it's a triangle, or if it's just Jean is in two romantic relationships and she's exclusive with those two, and they get to share her.
I mean, don't they have enough problems? Like, what are they doing? I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
No, and
it's that
Scott doesn't deserve her. Like,
no,
so
Scott
what
doesn't
happened
deserve
to
her, and she's not good enough for him, or he doesn't deserve her, or he's not worthy of her. Which one is
I mean, both. Like I don't like any way you slice it. I feel like I don't know. Like he did her dirty with Emma. And like so.
and that was after
Yeah.
she died. For real, the second time.
And this is why I can't read current X-Men, but I am hopeful for the new freaking books coming out.
I mean,
There's
they
this
introduced a good
little
way. Oh,
I,
nice. That's
I do
cover.
like the with it's the Marvel previews. I picked it up and there's some little previews of like actually some other X books coming up. Some Ryan Stegman art. It looks good.
And I see the back. I think I saw X Force there.
Oh yeah, X Force. So it looks like Warpath. Oh, Forge is part of X Force. Do you see that?
And is that Rachel?
Um, that has to be Rachel. She's got the hound's marks on her things. And holding the sword, is that Blink for of all people? Would it be Blink?
On
I
the
don't
far
know.
right, I don't
Yeah.
know if that's Blink or if it's Betsy, who was restored to her original body, and now Quanon has been restored to her body. Jim Lee Psylocke.
Oh yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, because I think Psylocke died and was resurrected. I mean, who isn't resurrected in X Men? But Betsy is now in her original body. So Revanche Quanon is in her original body.
I mean, I can't. No, I hated that so much. The Quanon and the Revanche and all that crap. Okay, so who is this? Sage
That looks like Sage.
from Extreme X-Men. And then who's the chick with the blue hair down here?
Aja from Gem and the Holograms.
And then who is this large fella in the back with the red? Like he doesn't look like anyone we know, does he? Son of Juggernaut.
I should know
Son
that.
of Juggernaut.
Is it Colossus?
Is
Because
it? No, no, I guess we don't have him
Colossus
anywhere
went
else.
through some changes. I mean, he was Juggernaut for a while.
Oh no, that's like no, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Oh, and then there's going to be a Phoenix book, a Phoenix solo book. Like, wasn't there going to be like the the Phoenix Force 5 or something crazy like that? Is that
They
a
need a
thing?
Phoenix book that deals with Jean and Rachel together, like harnessing the Force or something, or dealing. It would. I just need more Jean Rachel time together.
Um, oh my God, I can't believe we forgot to mention the other gag moment of the show. Um, Captain America.
Oh yeah, well I knew we were getting there, but I was like, first, like, okay, good. I'm glad that they made mention of other teams or there were Easter eggs in the original series, like when in Uncanny, what is it, 135, 136, when Dark Phoenix goes off into space and all those people sense what's happening, like Doctor
Yes,
Strange. They do
yes, I
that.
loved those cameos.
Yeah, they did that in the animated series where you see Doctor Strange, and when Phoenix, I think in the original Phoenix Saga, you see Emma Frost sensor go off into space. Um, you see, I think like what's his name? The other Iron Man, War Machine. I think you see Spider Man, but they don't give you a full. They just you see his web coming from his wrist. Saving some people. You see Alpha Flight, but they'd already appeared, so they give you little Easter eggs like that. And in the Marvel Action Universe, as it was called back in the '90s, I believe, there's like little cameos. Like I think one time in Avengers, no, in Fantastic Four, you see like the X-Men, a backup view of the X-Men and the Avengers or something like that. So they were connected, but they didn't really cross over much, except in Spider-Man because he had a crossover with the X-Men. Oh, X-Men appeared in Spider-Man, and then everybody at one point, or like some Avengers, Fantastic Four, and Storm appeared in Secret Wars. So they kept that very small. But Captain America appeared in the original series in a World War II flashback with Wolverine. I think it was called Old Soldiers. It's one of the last episodes of the series.
Okay.
You'll hate the animation.
I know I feel like that's like a deterrent, not a deterrent, but something I'm
It's just
not
the
looking
last six
forward to.
episodes when they switched studios, and you can
Okay.
tell the animation went down. But maybe you'll like it because you have an artistic eye where you appreciate some things that other people don't. So who knows? It could go either way.
And audience, that's Philip's way of saying you like crap.
You just like art that I don't like, but like again, I'm not an artist. You are. So you see more beauty than I do.
It's true. Oh, I like that way of phrasing it for sure. But like I feel like the Avengers have been so popular for so long that like I didn't need them there. Like I don't know. Like I mean, although I did love seeing Rogue carry around Captain America's shield, and it was
And
hilarious that
throw it
she
off.
launched. I know. Now, will he be able to mentally call it back to him? Is that how it works, or is
No,
he
but I'm
gonna?
sure they've got technology where they can just scan for it, because it's made of
It
vibranium.
I was gonna say it must have a chip in it or something. Like they should
More
be
than
able to
that,
trace.
yeah.
But
He didn't look traumatized. He just looked a little put off, which I would have too. But it was a great, like, oh, you go, Rogue. Oh no, she didn't. Whatever. I love it. But again, it's
fine.
back to the whole she was bringing up what the hell are you doing kind of thing that we talked about before. And, he was, so where are the Avengers assembling? Why are
Exactly.
they not helping with the cleanup on Genosha?
Thank you. I know. We have these. Yeah, exactly. You're on blast, Avengers. What the hell? I mean, it's tricky. It's political. Nobody wants to help him now. What the hell? Like, that doesn't make any sense. I love how it's gone from like this, like, hedonistic sort of paradise where it's like a club in Florida every single minute. to being like
It
this
was like Club
war,
Mutant.
and now it's like this junkyard of death and rubble. It's so sad. Like, oh my God, how awful.
I know
Will
it
we
looks so.
ever learn?
No. And then it was interesting how Bastion, I call
Uh,
that one.
I was
Um,
just about to bring him up. See, another person who I could care. I've never had an affinity for him as a villain. Have you?
no, but
Yeah.
when he used those satellites to spy on the Shi'ar, when I'm like, but in the original series, the X-Men said it would take 8 to 9 months to send a message. So why do you have? How are you using satellites that they're not using? Willing suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, I was very unsettled by the cliffhanger of like what is going on with him and Magneto tied to that chair. That was so like creepy. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, he is not in for a good
I
time.
I had too many feelings about that when I watched it the first time,
I know. I was like,
and I had to
wow.
block out most of them.
I was like, well, he's alive.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if Leech's powers caused Magneto to be unseen by Master Mold. Although, like I said, how can Leech control his powers? Um, or if Bastion specifically deactivated Master Mold's scan on him so he could fake Magneto's death and abduct him. Or maybe he took him out of the fray from underneath. Maybe he teleported him away. That would make sense
Well,
because that's what,
now I have a prediction that he's going after he I never mind. I can't even say what I no. After they get done, he's going to have like experimented on him and transformed him into like some sort of sentinel hybrid or something. And this is going to be what, turns him evil again against the X-Men, I guess. Because Xavier and Storm are like dun, 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 like on their way back. I feel like the cavalry has to be coming. I
has
mean,
to be
like
coming because they're still not back in the opening credits. Gosh darn it!
I was like, you pieces of poop. Like you're not even gonna like. How long has it been since last episode? Like they're not able to show up for Gambit's funeral. Although I guess Xavier is coming from deep space or another dimension or
Yeah,
something. But
Storm's coming from like Texas.
I know, I know. I was like, was it harder to travel in 1997?
She can fly.
I know she's like, I am in a hurry to get back to the X-Men in 2.5 weeks. What are you doing?
But that is a good point. I mean, she saw it on the news. How was she not at his funeral? It would not have taken her 2 or 3 days to get to New York.
Yeah. I mean, where's my suspension of disbelief right now? I'm not buying it. Sorry.
I
Like
mean,
he
yeah,
meant too much to her.
yeah, and she
Did
even mentions in the original series at one point, "No one is closer to you than I am." Before he and Rogue really got into it. So
was well no wait. I know that okay, yeah, we talked about the was she Lil Ro in the cartoon ever?
no, she's never been Lil Ro.
I
Nope.
hopefully that's not coming. Like I if the writers of the show are watching, we don't ever need that. We
I don't know. Now you're making me want Lil Ro because maybe they'll need a teenager now that Jubilee went from 15 to 18 in 3 months.
Oh, that's true. I know, yeah. And Lil Ro arguably did happen after whatever's happening right now, after Life Death for sure.
After like, oh yeah, it was almost 100 issues later. I'm like, but no, it's like 70, but whatever. Oh, you know what? Well, how they can solve the teenage problem? Kitty Pryde.
Has she not been in the show ever?
She is the only long-standing member of the X-Men in the 90s at that point in time who never made one appearance on the show. And it
And
ticked fans off to no end.
yeah, because Jubilee sucks. Oops, I'm sorry. I don't want to piss off any Jubilee fans, but like so, but they did Days of Future Past, did they not?
Yep.
Without Kitty. Oh my gosh. I like
Wolverine was the time travel. No, not Wolverine. Bishop was the time travel. But Wolverine in the future was present.
I don't know, it just worked so well in the comic book with Kitty, obviously. So I
Mhm.
mean,
It
that
was
was
beautiful.
just it was like poignant on so many levels. Not I mean,
And
not to say we don't like Bishop, but he's just like an afterthought kind of character from the future. Like there's no tie to this to the present, you know what I
no,
mean?
and
So
notice how Jean did her little scan thing again with Cable. So it kind of ignores the fact that she did that already in season 2 of the original series, Time Fugitives, episode 8 of season 2.
well, maybe but so you feel like that was a mistake or like
I think it was. I think they think 30 years later that a lot of us will forget, and they tend to forget that there
yeah,
are people
you know
in the
what
world.
I I feel like watching it after watching like the current one, in the ass backward way I am doing it, I'm probably gonna notice a lot of that, like a
You're gonna,
certain
yeah, you're absolutely, and that's why it'll be fun when I rewatch it while you're rewatching it. So we get through both of our eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Great. So what do we think? Okay, so that was my predict. I don't know. Like, so what else happened? Like Rogue went ape shit. She really, oh my God, I cannot believe, like, even though that was very irresponsible of her to kill Trask, don't you think?
You mean when Rogue went,
Rogue.
and that
Oh
was it.
shit, I totally stepped on your punchline. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, but you were supposed to fill in the blanks. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, and I was like, of course. At first, I was like, well, is it really is it Trask being sentinelized, or was he cloned? And it was his DNA mixed with the Sentinel. But according to Jean, because she's so reliable right now with her experience,
I know
Madeline.
if it even is Jean, it could be Madeline for all we know.
Well, she's got Madeline's hair. So yeah.
Have we ever? I know, I was gonna say she should just get a mullet. Wouldn't that be amazing? Like you thought the mohawk was controversial.
No, but she had some cute short hair for a while. I think during the Morrison run or another one. I can't remember.
Mm, Jean,
Like almost Rachel length. I think at one point. It didn't last long.
Rachel Link with like the spike and like Rachel's hair, like the way John Romita Jr. drew it for her introduction with the rat tail and the spike and all that stuff, which I love. I love how Alan Davis kind of softened it up. It was like a little more wispy and curly the way he drew it.
And then he made the Phoenix flame part of her bangs that were upward.
I loved it. I just love Rachel. Like every depiction of her is amazing. Yeah, like because she just had kind of like a buzz cut, and then oh my God, one of my favorite episodes. I see. Damn it, I'm doing what you did now. I'm calling the issues episodes and the episodes issues.
Yep, it's a thing.
The one I'm talking about. The very Rachel centric issue of Uncanny X-Men. I feel like Nimrod might have been on the cover. No, is it the with Wolverine slashing down? But it was inked by Steve Lee Aloha, so it looked kind of different. But like I remember Rachel being in the Hellfire Club and having like fishnets on, and
Is this the one where she teams up with Magma, or the one where
oh, I know
she's,
where
or is
she's
the one where she
actually
saves Kitty from the college students who are trying to strangle her to death after they realize they're trying to assassinate Professor X?
it's the one where I think she's on the cover in her hound outfit and she's
Yes,
holding
that's
someone.
Uncanny 196.
Yeah, that's such a good issue.
It's a great issue because she spills her guts to Magneto in front of Kitty about everything she had been through up to that point. Because I don't think she had told the X-Men at that point about how she was forced to kill other mutants by, the Sentinel, whoever the people who kidnapped her as a child and, raised her as a hound and this and that. And she's like, I had to track, people who I cared of, loved, and this and that, and just how she never wanted to let that happen again. And I was always Team Rachel because when Wolverine tried to kill her in 207 because she was going to kill poor Selene, don't get me started on that. And then what did Selene do the next issue? She killed an innocent person in the park because Wolverine wouldn't let Rachel take her out. Wolverine, the voice of reason, who would
Wolverine,
never kill
the
a
killing
person.
machine.
Yeah,
But
the
was
one
it
who
one of
tried to
those?
kill Nightcrawler for kissing Mariko under the mistletoe.
Yeah, well, that was probably, a berserker rage. I mean, he can't. Oh, did you see the trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine?
No, not yet. You saw I Met Colossus from the movie last
Yeah. Oh my
2 weeks ago.
God, how exciting! Were you dying? That
He was
was
very
you had the t-shirt with the Dave Cockrum, like the Juggernaut
yeah.
one. Yeah,
Hmm.
that was so cool. So that must have been fun.
It was funny because when I was waiting in line for his photo op, somebody from behind comes up and pats me on the shoulder, telling me what a great shirt, and it was him.
You're like, sign it.
It's like,
Did he
yeah, right.
sign the shirt? Did he sign the shirt? No.
No, I just got regular autos from an 8x10 I brought him, and one that he had on his table that was a cool shot of Colossus. But I'm trying to think. Other than the Captain America shield, the Jeans animation, which I thought was stunning.
Nightcrawler presiding over the funeral. Like what
That
did
was
you think of
nice
the? Yeah, I mean, I guess if they have to work that in, yeah, I kind of at least they're using him. But
because is he an actual priest or is he a deacon or he was living in a monastery last we saw him.
I think that would be kind of a good fun storyline to have him go like all evangelical. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, after you have a long-term relationship with your adoptive sister, it might be, a good idea to find a little faith.
Yeah, what the hell, right? Like I never understood that. I did like Rogue referencing him as her brother-in-law.
I
Or no,
loved
or
that.
stepbrother, I'm sorry.
Brother,
Stepbrother.
yes.
Yeah. It is so hard to keep track of all this crap. I don't know how you do it, but that's why you're here. Because I can't make heads or tails of any of this crap.
Because who do you call Victor Creed Jr.? Because they renamed Graydon Creed in the show Victor Creed Jr. because they had to give him the same name as Sabretooth so we could connect the dots. So that's Mystique's other child, but I don't know if they revealed that in the cartoon that she had a
Hmm.
child with Sabretooth.
Do we ever see Destiny in the cartoon?
I don't think so.
No,
Yeah, no.
I feel like I can't remember where I saw it, but somebody threw out the notion that, or the question is, and I'm going to see how you react to this, is Val Cooper Mystique? And has she been Mystique in disguise the whole time?
I don't
Which would
know.
be interesting because, she's posed as Val Cooper before.
Many times, but
Who hasn't posed as Val
yeah,
Cooper?
you know, I mean, I don't think you're a Mystiquan. No, maybe you are.
Shit, see, this is why you need to learn how to edit to put in a rim shot right there.
Right.
But
Um, but yeah, that is a popular theory, and it'd be nice because then Val Cooper would still be alive, and maybe Mystique with her healing properties would have survived the blast. Because I think who doesn't have a healing factor now? I mean,
uh, well, at least Wonder Woman always had like the healing purple ray. That seemed a little more. I don't know. I
which gave
mean,
Donna her powers originally.
yeah, like I wonder how that works. Like we can do whatever we wanted to for the
Let's
story.
go from healing to power absorption. But anyway, um, trying to think. Oh,
It's
by the way,
science.
I have put up some X-Men stuff in the background this time.
I vaguely see it. I think is that the I know that's Jim Lee for sure. I see Big Lorna. Oh, and then I see the X-Men #1, like I want to say triptych, but it's actually like
Mhm.
5 pieces, gatefold cover.
Yep.
Yeah, that is like
The
pretty
one we all
stunning.
bought copies of back in '91, thinking it'd be worth a
I
lot of money.
bought absolutely. I was roped right into it. I bought each cover. I bought the green one with all the covers and
Yep. Which had that
yeah.
poster
But
inside.
I
Yes.
think that I was a pre-speculator psycho because when Life Death Part 2 came out, I bought 8 copies for some reason.
Oh yeah, 190. Somebody, my friend Walter Mendez, who's the toy reaper who sells at cons, he was at that Big Lip Comic Con. He had stepped away from his vendor thing and got a copy of the original Life Death for only like $6, and it was in great shape.
Wow.
I was like, oh my god, do they have any more copies? Because my original is in shape, because it was my first year of collecting X-Men, first year or
Yeah,
two.
yeah, I think my half of my X-Men collection is in my dad's attic, and I have no idea if I'll be able to get it back or not, but or when. But yeah, I have a lot of the like I don't have any of the Paul Smith issues with me, which is killing me. So I don't know. But that artist edition is coming out in September. Oh my God, that's so beautiful. That is like one of my favorite X-Men images ever. Like probably that and like classic X-Men cover number one by Art Adams. Um, what else stands out? The New Mutant Special Edition wraparound cover is stunning. You know, it's so weird because conversely, like the X-Men, oh, this is a interesting trivia for you. X-Men Annual 9, the is it the conclusion to the Asgardian Wars? I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that cover is drawn by Art Adams and inked by Walt Simonson. And as much as I love Walt Simonson and as nice as it is, it just goes to show what Terry Austin brings to the table. Like it's just not that level, but it's still good. And there's actually a lot of interesting inkers on that book. Like Mike Mignola inked some of it. I think that uh,
I mean, I could tell there was a difference. I mean, I didn't look at the artistry as intensely back then, but I knew that Art Adams had done both those issues. But the New Mutant Special Edition was so much more.
oh
Where
yeah, 100.
the X-Men one looked really good, but I was like, well, there were production problems with that too. Like it came out later. It came out after Uncanny 200.
Yeah.
There's even a blurb in Uncanny 200 that says the X-Men were off, and it's like, and we're going to kill so and so forever doing a scheduling like thing like this again because we saw the X-Men return from Asgard before we even saw them go to Asgard.
And I think
Um,
part of that was a weird thing that they actually sent like the entire creative team to Paris to do research, but I think it was also kind of a reward for the success of the X-Men, you know, to do the trial of Magneto issues.
which didn't last very long, and we had to wait another 2 years to get resolution for that.
I
But
know.
anyway, so Magneto is alive. Bastion is doing stuff to him, shaving him. Uh,
I know
um,
what the hell that was so creepy.
WTH.
I
uh,
know. I was like, oh my God,
Storm
I'm like,
Rex
I
are
was alone and I felt
on the
uncomfortable.
way. Um, I I mean, now I'm kind of worried that they're not going to do time travel to fix some of this, but I don't see Gambit being dead indefinitely. So I'm wondering if they're going to touch on a current story arc that lasted a couple years or more, that whole Hellfire gala where they're on Krakoa and there's everybody gets resurrected or something. Again, didn't read it, but I've just seen little snippets here or there where a lot of people who have died in the X verse have been brought back, except maybe perhaps the original Thunderbird, who I think is like Uncle Ben, he just stays dead.
Yeah, I don't know. Strong Guy. Was that Morph in this issue episode?
I don't think so. Morph did become Quicksilver though when they were fighting Bastion.
Yes. Okay,
I
that was
mean, they were
awesome.
fighting Trask.
I did love that, and I love how like once again like oh so now you're super fast because you can anyway. But junk science right
Yeah,
there.
well, Storm can grow
Um,
hair.
I know. Well, you do have to have a certain amount of suspension of disbelief. Oh, but what I was gonna say, so aren't the like isn't the next episode or isn't Extinction part of the next episode's title?
Yeah, that's the
So I
title.
feel like we might be leaning into a lot of the Grant Morrison stuff since we've seen Diamond Lil Popper. I mean Diamond Emma
That's
pop
what
up.
I was never a fan of that transformation thing, that secondary mutation of Emma's. I just thought it was.
I feel like, you know what, it's one of those things, and this is ties into the problem with that Cyclops Wolverine throuble situation, is that it makes an exciting story at the time, but it's certainly something that you don't want part of canon or like status quo or anything like that. And it's questionable whether it's even a good story at the time. You know what I mean? I don't feel
It
like they
seemed like a hash because remember Penance from Generation X?
yes.
What was her skill? She had diamond hard skin that if you touched it, you basically cut yourself bleeding.
I mean, I feel like what was it? Like Morrison just, I mean, he did a lot of interesting things, and that was like part of, his whole thing. Like, I don't know, turning Beast into a cat. Like that seems so unnecessary to me. Like I was never like a fan of that either. And even like, I don't know, just the weird notion of introducing like Cassandra Nova. Like, really? Xavier had a twin this whole time and she like tried to kill him in the womb. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like the like with the fourth Summers brother, or was it only third? The
Third,
third
yeah.
Summers, and just certain things like that. I'm just like, oh, just make it go away.
I think they're finally going to resolve the Havoc Cyclops Summers brother thing in the series because they have met once in season 3, Cold Comfort, when Iceman appears, the only time Iceman appears in the present. Um, and they use their powers on each other and they don't work. And they're like, what gives? Oh my God. So you don't know why. We know why, but they don't establish it. And then he has a non-speaking part in Phalanx Covenant when everybody's kidnapped by the Phalanx. So I'm hoping, since this showrunner has, already put two seasons, in the can, that that's going to be addressed maybe in season 2 if it's not briefly addressed in the 3-part finale, because we just need Cyclops to know Havoc's his brother.
I
Just
know.
saying.
I just can't imagine. Like, so we're already locked in for 3 seasons, so I just can't imagine. Like, I feel like so much has happened already. Like, I just can't imagine where. I mean, they'll find a way, but I can't imagine where it's going to possibly go from here. And I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time with like Grant Morrison's X-Men, so hopefully that's not overkill. But we can't make any predictions. We've already learned that lesson. Like I
No
feel like
one can predict
I,
who said that.
I don't know.
Did you like that Mutant Massacre plug when they were talking about Sinister? When he said something like, well, he was responsible, or someone was responsible for this mutant massacre. And I was like, oh, mutant massacre plug.
Yes,
Hashtag.
I did. I know. Yeah. Well, yeah, I have to say, like, I don't know. I guess like I had complained that I felt like we had already had our fill of Mr. Sinister, but I feel like he's obviously going to tie into the big finale here.
Yeah, but like I said, I knew he wasn't the mastermind.
Hmm.
Because it wasn't his thing. So he's working for Bastion. And that's the only thing I don't like about currently the Sinister version in this animated series and in the previous, is he seems to be a lot of people's lapdog. Like first he ended up working for Apocalypse in the first series, and then he ends up working for Bastion here. And I always felt that Sinister was just a standalone guy. I mean, I know that in the comics he eventually ends up doing stuff for Apocalypse, and and they establish, I guess, Apocalypse created him or whatever. He's a mutate, not a mutant. But I just always thought Sinister was just such a standalone badass character, and
Yeah,
he
he
didn't need
doesn't need
he didn't
anybody.
need to be anybody's, you know, co-signer. He just did his own thing. He made people his lackeys. He was not a lackey.
Yeah, well, I know. I know it's interesting how they've treated certain things differently. And obviously, they have their reasons, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of it is to just sort of weave certain things together, but it remains to be seen.
Yes, because no one can predict the future. Why am I that tangent?
Oh my God, you're a slap happy.
And I have
And like
not
what
had one drink.
I was gonna say, where's your Wonder mug full of Wonder juice?
Full of the the nectar from the Hibernian tree. Oh no, wait, that causes memory loss. How many genres or how many universes are we going to collide here?
Well, I think you should definitely watch the Deadpool Wolverine trailer because
Okay.
it's
Um,
kind of fun. And there's a character that appears in it that I want your opinion on who it is because I think it's Cassandra Nova, like a young Cassandra Nova. It has to be. But
Now you've seen the first two movies, right?
I saw the first one.
Okay.
Um, so this is basically see, this is where it all gets so confusing to me. So this is Deadpool part three, but it's like a buddy film with Wolverine, basically, right?
Mm-hmm. Because it was
Yeah.
originally Deadpool 3, now it's Deadpool and Wolverine.
And like I liked Deadpool enough, like the first one, but I wasn't like blown away. Like I feel like I enjoyed like the Peacemaker show on HBO much better. And I feel like the Peacemaker is kind of like, well, actually, Vigilante is actually becoming the Deadpool of that sort of James Gunn DCU, but which was amazing. That's kind of an example of a character being portrayed in a completely different way than they are in the comic, and it kind of is okay because it's a good, entertaining take. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter because it's not the comic book, and it
When do
doesn't
we say
matter.
that? It's when we don't want it to be like the comic book.
Never.
I mean, yes, there are certain things you can't do, but when you have a medium, like when you translate it to television and everyone's like, well, you can't cram this many issues. I'm like, okay, true, but let's say it's a 2 or 3 part storyline in the comics. How long does it take you to read 3 comics on the average? 10 minutes a comic, 15 minutes a comic?
Well, and not to mention like something like the Dark Phoenix saga. Sure, it took place over the course of several issues, but those issues were all 17 pages each. So
Yeah.
that's
And
not
they gave it 4 episodes, and they're very, I mean, you will see just so much taken from the comics, and those are like I said, the best translation from the comics to the animated series, you know and it even gives Chris Claremont credit in the opening credits of each episode based on stories written by Chris Claremont. So I'm like, oh, awesome. It ends a little differently, but there's just so many things you will see where you're like, oh my god, I love that because that was in issue blah 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 blah. You will go crazy with those. The Phoenix Saga, they have to, there's a lot more liberties taken there because the Phoenix Saga wasn't a self-contained story, and it wasn't even really a story. In the original comics, it's just she becomes Phoenix. She's in the hospital. She helps out when needed. She vanishes. She disappears. She's written out for a while because everybody thinks everybody's dead. And then Dark Phoenix happens, and that's when her full focus is done. But, there's not really a Phoenix Saga issue to issue in the original series when you think about it. It's
right.
just, Jean transforms. Jean beats the crap out of Fire Lord. Jean saves the universe, and Jean goes on sabbatical.
Yeah.
John Byrne's desire to get her out of the book after 108, which was his first issue, as you know, but I believe he was the one who spearheaded the campaign saying, we can't have her showing up in every issue. She's like, she's like a god. She can just do whatever, and she makes all the other X-Men unnecessary.
That's actually, and I feel like I probably have said that before, but that is my entire problem with where the Marvel Cinematic Universe is right now. Everyone is so powerful. Everyone is completely adept at their powers, and it's just kind of boring.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a movie with Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, and Thor in it, what do you need everybody else for?
I know exactly. Here comes Black Widow. Like, no wonder why she got killed. Dead weight.
Oh, is that her new code name? But yeah, it's like what? Yeah, it's a very good point. Yes, everybody is mega powerful, and then you have those who could beat who in a fair fight. Blah blah blah. Oh, and Captain Marvel. Let's not forget how powerful she is.
Captain Marvel. Oh no. And how could we? Like you're telling us every 5 minutes how freaking powerful she is. I'm so sorry. I have no love for the cinematic Captain Marvel. And Carol Danvers is one of my favorite characters, and I feel like she's ruined. Like they tried to make her like the like the Captain America or whatever, and she's not. She's just not. What do you
I
think?
liked I liked her better as Miss Marvel, Binary, and Warbird. I wasn't crazy about making her Captain Marvel number 17.5
And I
because
feel
she's
like I
her own character. She doesn't need a hand-me-down name.
yeah. Did we did have binary in the first season of or the first series of X-Men or no?
Just Miss Marvel.
Just Miss Marvel. See, I'm gonna die on that episode. Like that's gonna like I'm gonna is it done well?
I think it's done well, but it ends with her, still being in a coma after her experience with Rogue.
Well, that's something that would be kind of fun if they have to introduce the Avengers here. They could bring her out of her coma, like she
Mm-hmm.
could become binary, um, and then she could become, the Carol Court version and go join the Avengers or whatever.
And it would be nice to see, because Lenore Zahn, I think, is killing it. I mean, just, I know it's this an animated, voiceover where you're like, but oh my God, she is just breaking my heart with her dialogue, and I just, she's a great rogue. Um,
Hmm. I know, I do love this Rogue. I have to say, like, um, but I've always loved Rogue. Oh, that was the other point I wanted to make is that do you remember, and I don't I hate to ask you on camera because I know it's controversial, but were you into Mike Wieringo's art at all? Impulse. Do you know who I'm talking about? It's kind of cartoony looking, so it might not be
I
your
do,
thing. Mike Wieringo, he passed away. But
I don't think I'm familiar with him.
so he drew this Rogue miniseries. I want to say green yellow costume. It was like her first miniseries, inked by Terry Austin.
Was that in the 90s right after Gambit got his?
Yes.
Okay, then I think I am familiar. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what was I bringing that up for? But anyway, she like a lot of the way she looked and the way she was flying and stuff heavily reminded me of that miniseries.
Yeah, because
So
that was,
it's like, so that's the question. Like we talk about the Easter eggs and the like little touches and stuff. I think that they're doing such a phenomenal job with all the Easter eggs and like the fan service. But I also think there's an element that is the obvious nostalgia we feel. You know what I mean? Like you've said a bunch of times, like certain things are reminding us of a million other things. You know what I mean? Just as a reader, like it's in our DNA. So I don't know. Just another
soon they're going to be
joy
covering
of
they're going to be
what
having those storylines post us, and we're like, well, we might have to call in an expert after 1995 for this one.
I mean, I don't know. We might be dead by then.
I mean, how many times could they say what is OZT and not answer the question in the episode?
What is it?
Operation Zero Tolerance.
Oh, okay. Hmm. I know a lot of this is so lost in me, but I'm hanging on for dear life. I'm along for the ride. I'm here.
And you'll have a lot to look forward to after the season finale when you start your rewatch or your watch of the original series, which I will help you with.
So now you're like, if we have predictions or desires for the future, just this is what we're going to end on here. Um, is now you're making me want to see Lil Ro come to life in this. See, I feel like if they brought Gambit back to life, maybe him and Lil Ro could go off on some adventure. And I don't know why, but they could
Bring
make that
back the Shadow
happen.
King because he was a thing in the original series.
Who?
The Shadow King.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, and then I would like to see Bloodstorm happen.
Oh, you know what? I take it back. Even though Lil Bro was not a thing, they do
They
flashback
reference
clips.
it.
They show you, I think, clips of her as a child when the Shadow King, tried to.
Well, that is a different thing, though. That isn't GH Storm. That was her as a child because Shadow
Yeah.
King ties into her origin, doesn't he? It's
I think it's drawn in the spirit of Lil Ro because typically, they used to draw. When you saw Storm in flashbacks, it was the long flowing hair, like in Uncanny 117, when you realize that Professor X met her 20 years prior and she doesn't remember it.
Yeah.
And he first
John
goes up.
John Byrne has a reputation for not being able to draw children well. Everyone has an Achilles heel, and I think his version of Storm as a child is kind of a good example of that. It's a little off, right?
I it looked like her, but I guess it was supposed to. So he just put a woman's head on a little bitty body.
That's
Um,
exactly what it looks
it's
like.
like it's like a Storm Funko Pop. But I think they draw her hair in her memories of the Shadow King in the short hairstyle that she had when she was on the run and she didn't, she was DH'd by Nanny and Orphan Maker, and when she met Gambit initially. So you know how they kind of mesh things up there. So she doesn't have her Funko Pop head body in the flashback.
Okay. So this is a crazy actually anecdote that I'm going to end on, and I can't even believe I forgot about this, but I actually met. Okay, so first of all, I have to say that I hated Storm's hair in the X-Men movie, in the first movie, and I feel like maybe a lot of people felt that way. Halle Berry, like it
It
was
was a terrible
almost,
wig.
it was a terrible wig. It was just awful. So my best friend at the time worked at the film company that uh, produced the movie, or like distributed the movie Monsters Ball. So um, he had to deal with Halle Berry during like that her Oscar campaign. And I think I went to the premiere of Monsters Ball, and I actually got to meet her briefly at the after party. And
Jealous.
of course, what do I say to her? Oh yeah, because my friend is like, oh, I know that, this is my friend. He's like a huge comic book fan. And so, but she was like, oh, I know how important, it is to people and blah, blah, blah. And I told her that I didn't like the hair. Like, why would I tell her that? But she said, well, she's like, we've heard some of that feedback and they're working on better hair for the next one.
And they did,
I,
and I actually thought it looked best in X3, which is, you know, you know, what do you call it? Just people just it's notoriously or systematically or just in large part people trash it, and it's my favorite X-Men live action.
the short one, or
The
the
short
sort
hair,
of like with the
yeah, and it's kind of got
like
black
the
streak almost.
like the Carol Brady sort of flip, or
Yeah, but it's shorter and like it looked more natural, and she was finally able to play Storm the way we were used to Storm. I mean, she kicks Callisto's butt in the last battle. She's flying, which we didn't really get to see a lot. You got to see her rise in an elevator shaft in the first movie, but I
and
thought
uh Chris Claremont has actually gone on record as saying like she was the perfect Storm, like if for the perfect Storm. Oh my God, I did it.
we need a
um
drum sound
I
effect.
know where the frick. Okay, we got to get on that. Yeah, if we could just have a real drummer in the corner.
Mhm.
Anyway, he loved Halle Berry as Storm and thought she was perfect for it. And I kind of wouldn't mind seeing her come back as like she could be a more mature Storm.
Storm in Limbo when she's all embracing her sorcery.
Yes. Oh my God, we'll never get that. I know. See, because now I'm like sitting here, thinking about where they're gonna go with the movies and stuff. It's like that was kind of the disappointment of Spider-Man. We got the same franchise like three times in a row, like just spaced out. You know what I mean? It's like that's where I think that DC has it like it's more interesting to see like maybe a Joaquin Phoenix Joker, just to do something different, you know what I mean? Or the Robert Pattinson Batman, which I still have not seen. Isn't that
Neither.
crazy? Really? I know. I wonder, like, I can't believe it's the be all end all. Like, I know people really raved about it, and maybe I will like it if I watched it, but I don't know. Something's telling me that I'm not going to love it the way I want to.
I mean, I heard he was surprisingly good. And I still haven't seen Joaquin's Joker, so you're going to have to like, just be shocked about that.
It's really, really good. I mean, it's basically like a ripoff of another movie, but um,
I'm just like, how do you do Joker without Batman? It's similar to how do you do Venom without Spider-Man? And we keep doing stuff like that, so that's just weird.
yeah, I know. Yeah, like I know, like yeah, like there are definitely weird things, like this whole like Maleficent and Cruella de Vil and all this kind of thing. Like, I mean, I love it on one hand, but it's kind of weird on another hand. But I mean, I'm a huge Lady Gaga fan. Anybody who knows me knows that. And like, I'm so looking forward to the Joker sequel with her in it. It's going to be a musical. I think that's kind of will be fun if it's done well. So, which I think I have high hopes for it. I think it's a good time for comic books with this X-Men 97 leading the pack, and hopefully the new cinematic X-Men will live up to our expectations. So I don't know. But either way, we'll be along for the ride, right?
Absolutely. We'll say we're not watching another one ever again, and we totally will. We'll just
I
suffer in
know.
silence.
They keep sucking us back in.
Brilliant, Mark.
Anyway, I think that's probably a good place to end. Do you have
Yep.
any parting shots before we put everyone
No,
out of their misery?
no, yeah. I'm sorry. I know we've done better.
I know, it was kind of all over the place, but that was kind of this episode. I feel like we're in for a thrill ride in the crescendo of the season. So at least I'm hopeful. I think it's going to be good. So I think
And you might get interesting tidbits if you follow the showrunner on Instagram, because he's been posting just some clarifications like who died in the first blast, and stuff like that. So just
no, would that be Bo Mayo?
that's him. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think I do follow him, so I'll have to go check
Okay.
out this.
I think he's been answering some questions here or there, so it's been informative for me. And it's nice to confirm that certain people are dead, but how long will they stay dead? We don't know
Okay.
because
Who's
one cannot
confirmed
the
dead?
future. Madeline. But Dazzler, that's the one I'm not sure about because, we saw her body. I think Sebastian Shaw is dead too. And they pretty much confirmed in this week that Leech and Callisto are, because they showed you that like in memoriam pic.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It seems like a bad way to go out, doesn't it?
Well, if they can turn back time. Oh,
I was going to ask if you had any horrible jokes or bad puns before we to end on, and
I think I just did one.
I didn't even, I was like, I didn't even have to ask. There it was.
There you go. All right. Well, I guess that's it for me.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for tuning in for another exciting review and recap of X-Men 97. Be sure to subscribe and hit that like button and share this content. And be back next week for some sort of extinction event happening, and which is the three-part finale kicking off. So you are not going to want to miss that or our coverage of it. Thanks for watching, guys. All right. Thanks for being here, Philip.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.